Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Another Palace preview. Burnley up this week and it is going to be a very tough away day. Now before I get into the preview, I want to just quickly say it is very close to the end of November, and if you haven't noticed, yeah, it's not great. That bum fluff there. I know the lighting's not brilliant here, but I have been doing Movember, taking part. You may or may not have seen the link in the description. I probably should have put it out there a bit more than I have been, so I apologise for that. But yeah, if you want to, Movember, sorry, coming to an end. If you want to do any last donations, apparently if you donate now within the next 48 hours or so, I think Movember are going to be matching any donations donated, or one of their sponsors is going to be one of the sponsors of Movember will be matching it, any money raised in the last couple of days. So please do, if you have any spare change, you know, this is a shambles of an attempt, but have been trying to grow it for the month, this month, and any money would be really great. Obviously, all for charity, and the rest of the Imperial Wolf boys, of course, linked to the Imperial Wolf channel in the description as well. We've all been doing it, so I really appreciate if you could do that. But anyway, on to the preview. Burnley. It's going to be a short and sweet one, I think, because there's not a lot to analyse going into this game. It is obviously going to be the start of a really nice run up to the new year, where we are all expecting Palace to pick up points. In my opinion, if we play the way we did against Liverpool, against Burnley, or any other team in the league, I think we get at least a draw, possibly at most occasions a win. The way we press, the intensity, it was all fantastic. It was exactly what you want to see Palace do, and it has been a problem with Palace in seasons gone by. Has always been consistency, and we don't see those performances enough, or on a consistent basis, I should say. And that is one of the most frustrating things about the team. At the end of the day, is there is a lot of talent there, and even with the players that don't have necessarily the skill or talent you'd expect from a team that's pushing, obviously aspiring to do great things, and aspiring to go into the top 10, and maybe even in the long term aim for Europa League. We may not have the talent there to do that necessarily in some positions, but when they play like that, you know, they can beat anyone. And it's a bit of a cliche, I know, but it's very much the case, and it's a real grit, determination. It's all things that Palace fans love. I know, obviously being a fan myself, and just the way that the club is. It's not about being the most skilled player. It's about the work rate. It's about the effort, the aggression in certain instances, which is why, of course, on Twitter, I've been a big fan of Morelos, and I've really been preaching for the board, as a few Palace fans have been, to try and sign Morelos at the club in January. Whether or not that will happen, and that's for another video. But you know, I think if we play like we did against Liverpool, against any team, we get the points, and that's the same with Burnley, of course. But I think Burnley will add a much different threat compared to Liverpool, a very different threat. It will be a very different approach from both teams, in my opinion. Even though it shouldn't really be for Palace, I do think we will switch up our approach, which is a bit, which, you know, hopefully I'm proven wrong, but we'll end up seeing what happens, I guess, on the day. In terms of the team, I know that it's going to be Ward will be out for a few weeks. It looks like it could be a quite lengthy injury. It could be until New Year, possibly because of the muscular problem he's got there. Goes back to why we didn't sign a backup right, even a backup to Ward in the summer. We had to buy a right back of some sort, and the club didn't do that. Very poor on their part. But we move on. I've talked about that in previous videos. We've got to move on from that. So I think Kelly will come in for Ward. And then there's rumours as well that Cahill could miss this game. He picked up a little knock against Liverpool. Hopefully Sacco's back. If not, I'm not quite sure how we mould the team around that, because all of a sudden then we are looking quite slim in those areas. Scott Dan could obviously come in, and he probably will come in if Cahill is injured. I don't know if Sacco is fully fit yet. But also you've got the option, possibly Kouyaté for international duty. He plays at centre-back, obviously, as captain for his national side. And obviously he can drop into that role as well. So I think that, bar those two injuries, those two knocks, Cahill's touch and go, the rest of the team will be exactly the same. I expect it to be the same. Possibly, are you out for Benteke because of just how well Benteke, I think, played coming off the bench? He gets so much stick at times, but you have to acknowledge when he does play well. You know, you can't. I'm not going to have some agenda against any specific player. I don't think Benteke should be at the club. I do think we should sell him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always going to be supportive and appreciate really good performances from any player, no matter how much I like them or dislike them. As I mentioned, I think that we play the style of play we did against Liverpool, we win this game. And especially with the team and the players that, you know, when they're fully fit, when they're all firing, I think it's a better team than Burnley's, and it's a more talented team than Burnley's. No disrespect to Burnley, but looking at the Burnley side, you just look at their last game, the goals they scored from set pieces, especially in their last couple of games, big 3-0 wins. All their goals were from set pieces. One was a penalty against Watford, and then West Ham before that, set pieces caused massive issues there. Both 3-0 wins, big score lines, especially one being away from home as well. And that worries me. I do feel going into this, we should be looking at winning this game. Definitely should be looking at winning this game, but I'm not confident on this game. As I mentioned, it all goes down to if we can play the same way we did against Liverpool. But if we don't, and the way Burnley are playing, even if we do play like that, the way we've been playing it from set pieces defensively has not been good enough, in my opinion. Nowhere near good enough. Arsenal, we let in sloppy goals. Yes, it was a great comeback and an amazing away day, as the vlog will probably show you, my reaction to that night. Fantastic game to be as an away fan. We should never have been in that situation. It was so poor defensively, back-to-back corners, just sloppy. And that whole game, every time they got a corner, Arsenal, they looked like they would score from it. Definitely not settled in that area. Same goes for last week against Liverpool. They obviously win the game just after we score. We're back in it 1-1. If anything, we're the team that's going to go on and get a second, and then we allow Liverpool to get the corner, and we don't deal with it defensively. Poor. We should have really dealt with the corner before it got to the goal got poked in, and it's a problem. And if we're going to have players like Ward, like Cahill out, and some new players coming into a backline that is from set pieces anyway, already defending quite average, then that's going to be an issue, especially against a team like Burnley, as I mentioned, who have just battered teams in previous weeks, mainly due to their set piece strength. So that is why I'm not too confident going into this. I'm being brutally honest. If we can keep the ball on the deck, not get sucked into any individual battles, you know, or obviously win the individual battles, and not get sucked into making it too aggressive, or you know, discipline is the main word here. If we keep our discipline, we win this game, I think. If we lose our heads at any point and we allow them to put long balls into the box, which we know they're very, very threatening, and obviously corners, well, if we can keep them to a minimum, it goes a long way in winning this game. But the more set pieces, the more we allow them. Like a good example would be England in the World Cup final in rugby. I know it's a bit of a switch up that little analogy here, but we allowed South Africa to play their game, which is dominating teams in the scrum. We gave away far too many, very ill-disciplined, gave away far too many penalties, and we lost purely because of the amount of penalties we gave away in that Rugby World Cup final. Similar sort of circumstance here. If we allow Burnley to have their set pieces, we get sucked into drawing in, or they draw us into making fouls, allowing them to have loads of corners and not being on the front foot, putting the pressure on them, then I think they go and they definitely score at least one goal, just purely by the way they played in recent weeks from set pieces. So we cut that to a minimum, we win the game. I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. Quick, snappy preview to this one. Score prediction. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I honestly think Burnley will get something. Going away to Burnley as well is such a trek. First game in over a month, I think we are playing as well outside of London. Don't know how much of an effect that will have. I think they're all pros. I don't think it should affect them too much. They're used to this sort of travelling. But very tough place to go, the way Burnley are playing, and the way, as I mentioned, we're so inconsistent as a club in general. We're very inconsistent as a team, and also the way we defended this season in particular from corners especially, not been great, and that is obviously Burnley's strength. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'm predicting drawing this, probably not what people thought. I obviously am hoping for the win, and if we can get a point, it's not the worst point in the world away to Burnley, but then obviously you'd expect us to get wins in the games coming up after that. Some really winnable games, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel as always. We'll be doing a video reacting to the game as well afterwards, after the game tomorrow. Fingers crossed we'll get the result, and of course, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, and donate for this shambles of a moustache. I would really appreciate it in the link below. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.